Thank you very much for watching this video. Before we begin, I wanted to include a disclaimer, as I include in my about section as well as in the description of this video. All of my readings are for entertainment purposes only. They are never, ever meant to diagnose, treat, or otherwise have any influence upon your own medical issues or situations that you may have. I always encourage everyone to make their own sound decisions, including legal matters, financial matters, and every other matter in your own life. These are for entertainment purposes only. As these are general tea leaf readings, again, it makes sense, therefore, that some of this information will resonate with you and some of it may not. You may find that some applies and some doesn't. That is completely normal and to be expected, as these are general tea leaf readings. So again, take what you will and leave what you don't, and simply enjoy your reading and hope that you find it informative and insightful. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm back. It has been a crazy month of May. How are you doing today? I hope that you're keeping well. Thank you so much again for watching. If you're not familiar with this channel, if you're brand new, then welcome. My name is Sarah, and yes, I am a coffee drinking tea leaf reader. Very strange to say and hear, but it's very true. I don't like tea that much. I much prefer coffee, but anyway, I do read tea. And the time right now, I'm recording this actually very early in the morning on Friday, June the 2nd. I'm going to be editing this and hopefully posting this, if you're watching this by now, on Monday. Monday, June the 5th. And hopefully also watching it before I record and post the following bi-weekly tea leaf reading for the weeks rather of June the 5th and 12th. So this is a general bi-weekly tea leaf reading for the weeks of May the 22nd, retroactively, and also for this past week, May the 29th. So as I am reading this, doing the tea leaf reading for last week and also for this week, please just know that I am reading it again retroactively, as I have done a few times so far on this channel. When I just get waylaid or delayed for whatever reason or reasons, I still do the tea leaf reading even if it is delayed, because I feel like it's a proper thing to do. And I do read chronologically. If you're familiar with my channel, then you already know this, but if you're new here, then again, welcome and thank you for watching. I read chronologically, so it's now on the way in later. So in terms of this tea leaf reading retroactively and also going ahead for this past week being May the 29th, I'm still, because since I am rather recording this on the Friday, some of this information is going to be accurate, like actively occurring essentially for the next few days. That's likely going to be near to the base, which is more of the distant future. So in this case, this weekend, heading into the following week. So just something to be aware of as I am reading the tea leaves for this bi-weekly tea leaf reading. As you can probably hear my voice, excuse me, I have had a bit of a annoying cold for the past 4 weeks now. Almost 4 weeks. 4 weeks for me on this coming Saturday. So my apologies, sincerely apologies, for not posting anything before now. I was in no fit state to be doing it. I didn't look at it and saw good, and I thought, I'm not going to be recording. I'm going to go radio silence for a little while, rest up, get better. I'm not 100% yet, but I'm well enough to do some readings. So that's hence why I am recording this right now, early on Friday. So I do hope that you enjoy this tea leaf reading and find it to be helpful and informative. And thank you again so much for all of your commitment, patience, and continued loyalty as I do my best and to continue to post general bi-weekly tea leaf readings that I hope that you do find to be helpful. So without further ado, let's get on with this reading. And again, my apologies in advance. Yes, I'm very Canadian for not sounding 100%. I still have this cold. It's still lingering, and I'm doing my best to get rid of it. It's just still there. So you're going to hear a bit of a raspy voice and a bit of coughing once in a while. So my apologies in advance for that. So thank you so much again, and let's get to this reading. I have now turned the brightness up on my ring light, so I have a bit more of a better visibility of the tea leaves. So if you're wondering why there's a bit of a lighting change, that's the reason why. It's really bright, so probably won't be looking into the camera too much. But anyways, let's proceed with this tea leaf reading and see what the universe would like us to know, generally speaking, because this is the general bi-weekly tea leaf reading, for last week being the week of May 22nd, and this past week, May 29th. All right, let's go ahead with this reading and see what the universe would like us to know. Starting up at the rim, which is again the beginning of last week, May 22nd, it does appear, and again I do retroactive readings because still I feel like it's the right thing to do, I'm honoring my commitment, and also it gives us a bit of an insight still, even though the time has passed, even though the week is gone and lived through, essentially, we can still look back and gain some insight through the tea leaves. So let me just restart my timer, and let's get to this. It looks as though that week excuse me, began three essentially events or situations taking place at the beginning of the week where there was a lot of different parts or aspects to them, almost like these three situations or events. There was a lot involved in them. There was just a lot of communication, a lot of discussion, a lot of aspects and different parts to it. Different aspects involved. Was it like very busy scenarios essentially? Aside from that, it does appear as though there were 4 smaller events or situations, more significant than those 3 smaller ones. However, there was also one main event or scenario taking place that was more significant by far than the others, and especially in that one, but also in the four or five smaller ones. Things are being calm and clear and quiet, and we're happy with that, and or we want things to get moving a bit more. Overall, it was very busy. The past weeks have been exceptionally busy. Near the beginning of last week, there were opportunities where 4 or 5 likely areas where things were quiet and calmer, and therefore we were able to just take advantage of that in whatever way or ways you wish to do so. But it was fairly quiet, and also able to pace ourselves too. I would say that by the beginning of this past week, on this past Monday, May 29th or so, approximately, things became more obvious, clear, and more busy. Most of last week, likely 8 different scenarios that were present last week, but they were really not that significant. Maybe even we were just beginning to see the beginning of them. However, by this past Monday, the May 29th again, approximately, things became more obvious, more clear, more clarity around them. Actually, very busy. This is a form of a layout that I do often see, however. I will include pictures, rather, of this tea leaf reading at the end of this video. This is a layout that I often see, however, where we do have this one main event or situation being present here. It's almost like this is the hub or the focus. This is the main focus of the tea leaf reading. The main event, the main situation. Scenario almost, I would say, for the most part, concludes by the end of, well, today, I would say. Likely today. Maybe tomorrow being Saturday, but likely today being Friday. And it continues into the base, so it does continue into the weekend and into the following, next week. There are certain parts of it, however, I would say likely 3 different areas, aspects that do carry through to next week. And yes, while there are like 3 different aspects or parts to it that do continue through, there's one of those aspects. There's a lot involved. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of talking, a lot of, you could say, even discussions, conversations, ideas, things along those lines. And there's quite a bit of that, but in one certain part. By around now, maybe even yesterday being Thursday, there's a certain part of this whole main event that actually may result or lead to a trip. Or if it wasn't a trip that occurred just recently, if it was not a trip, then it did create a whole separate event in and of itself that also does lead or is related to the event or situation which is taking place this weekend and heading into next week. And a lot of the busyness that I mentioned that it was taking place rather this past week, much of that is actually directly related rather to that event or situation. It's not huge or very significant, however, I am mentioning that in case it makes sense to you. So now on to the main event, quite literally. Let's look at this main event or situation and see what is being presented in those tea leaves. It does appear as though last week, around Monday, there was a slight space of time between the beginning of the week and this main event or situation taking place, but only maybe like a day or so. There was a sense of reassurance that was present, but also more than that, getting things organized, tidied up, whether it was tangible or intangible. Somehow that actually helped to create, or was part of, a situation that is all about stability. It created a sense of, or scenario of unconventional stability, I would say. In some way, shape, or form, it actually helped to result in an opportunity that was being presented that included the letter S and or the number 5 in some way, shape, or form, and also the number 3. Looks like it was a positive scenario. There's 3 documents involved. It may have been relating to a house or property of some kind. If so, it looks like it was moving forward ahead quite quickly, like easily. There was nothing really preventing it or stopping it from moving ahead well. Clarity, knowing where we stand with things, but at the same time, a lot of thoughts and discussions regarding this whole scenario. I would say there's more thoughts and words taking place rather than actual clarity, but there were definitely a few scenarios rather where there is clarity, where there was and is clarity. This event began with a new opportunity being presented. This involved reassurance regarding a fast-paced forward movement of partnership of some kind that would looks to me like it was forming beautifully. Some kind of partnership may also likely have a Cancerian connection involved. So whether this is someone who is Cancerian, born late June to late July, I'm no astrologer, or the qualities and or characteristics of that sign. So like nurturing, taking care of, house and home, home and family, intuition, healing, nurturing, those kinds of things. This all helped to create a new opportunity though. There also literally may have been a child involved. So a new child being born into a family. If not that, the creativity, creating new things, new creative projects. Also, there was forward movement regarding that. Letter J involved, as well as messages, news, and or information, likely about the home and or family that was arriving to us, that we were receiving. Helpful people involved. Letter E, person, place, or thing. And if not being repetitive, I won't say this again. However, I do keep seeing happy faces. So it does appear to me that as though that last week and this week, there's a lot of goodness continuously. Things are going well. Action, momentum, things taking place rather quickly, life force, vitality, all of those qualities being present at the beginning of last week in this scenario specifically. But there really seems to be a reference to children or child or a new beginning or a new creative project, something along those lines. And this nurturing and taking care of as well. A new partnership of some kind. The letter M as in Magdalene, and was likely related to at least one individual. There also may have been a Scorpio connection. There was also a scenario of like a portal, a new beginning, a new creative project, a new opportunity. And this is a consistent theme that was beginning last week, or that was present rather last week. This mean opportunity, this mean change, this involved a conclusion of some kind. Reassurance was part of that change. Many helpful people involved in this new creative pursuit, this new beginning, this new opportunity. A lot of protection and reassurance regarding that, so that's really nice to see. Again, person, place, or thing, likely a person with the letter J involved. Multiple people. Open communication regarding 3 people, and again, the letter J. And F and or E. And 3. They're taking some time out for our own self-care, as well as a smaller opportunity, significant in its own right. It involved a few different things. So, for example, you received a promotion at work. As part of that promotion, you receive a new job title, you get a raise and a company credit card. You get multiple things from one opportunity, and that's what I'm seeing in here. Unconditional love, support, loyalty, and commitment that involves 2 people specifically. One of them is likely Aries or Taurus, and the letter W involved, and Y, possibly H. Again, it's multiple people involved, helpful people. Overall, that whole scenario individually involves abundance and prosperity, and helped to create 2 opportunities specifically involve more than one thing. Letter E, a sense of happiness though, almost like victory. People are having their arms raised in victory. So it looks like it was a very fortuitous scenarios happening at around that same time actually. There was also number 4 involved, so whether that is referencing the angels, maybe stability, maybe even referencing Jupiter being like a Sagittarius connection is possible. Going down a little further, W and F, and also likely a Scorpio again connection. Again, a scenario that involves the number 3, and likely conclusions that again also involve multiple parts to it. A very wise individual involved. Now, this could be referencing someone who is still here, or maybe even a departed loved one as well. I don't know which one that is, but please take that for what you will. Nurturing, taking care of. Action, speed, momentum, things taking place rather quickly. Messages, news, and or information about the home and or family arriving to us. Another scenario that really looks like it's abundance and prosperity, new opportunities. I keep seeing new opportunities, conclusions, beginnings, new opportunities. Using your thoughts and words, using your analytical skills, analytical and critical thinking skills. Conclusions, new beginnings, receiving new things, good things. Someone who is very wise, maybe even a fire sign. Something to do with the house and or home and or family, property especially is really what I'm saying. Some kind of knowledge, acquiring knowledge, education is associated with an opportunity that is presenting itself as a result of everything I just mentioned. Number 3, partnerships. I'm referencing now this past week. Multiple partnerships. Letter J, keep seeing a Scorpio connection and or an Aries or Taurus connection. Letter U, letter T, Scorpio connection yet again. The ability to get things done quickly and quietly, almost like under the radar. People not really seeing what you're doing. Doing things, going about your business and doing what you need to get done, but doing it almost quietly. Able to do a lot of things at once and move quickly doing so. Unconditional love, support, loyalty, and commitment. Being present at the end of this past week, like today. L, and that is referencing some kind of fortuitous sort of scenario, something that's very positive. It's one of those scenarios where it's perspective, glass half full versus glass half empty, but ultimately it is a good scenario. It's a small reminder for perspective. Again, the sense of things moving ahead quickly, maybe even taking a leap of faith, but I would say even more so than that, happiness, joyousness. We're happy about a scenario that involves the letter W, person, place, or thing, like likely a person, I would say. But letter W involved, again, this is again likely about the home and or family. I would say there's a matter of perspective, glass half full again versus glass half empty. But there is a new opportunity being shown regarding that. Helpful individuals. Again, this sense of knowledge, acquiring knowledge. But also reassurance and love and support and loyalty and commitment being present. Now, this whole scenario, like I said, leads into the base. Now, the base is fairly well covered, as you can very well see. This, to me, means that there's a great deal of surprises on the way that we are not supposed to know about. So, I would say that this is taking up about 90% of the base. So, whatever the situation is referring to, this big surprise that is taking place this weekend and heading into next week. I can say that this involves working with many people, multiple people. New creative projects, again, nurturing, taking care of, highly significant abundance and prosperity that is beginning to take place, beginning to form. Just hasn't formed yet fully, which makes sense, it hasn't happened yet. But it's forming beautifully, and it looks like to me, I'm very, very excited. This is a huge tree that is beginning to form. You can see the overall canopy, and the trunk of the tree is just starting. So for myself, I am just very excited. I'm so excited when I see this, because it means that there's a great deal of abundance and prosperity headed towards us. It's just that it hasn't fully formed yet, but it is on the way. This involves the letter Y and or J, almost like going within and using your magical power, and almost like waking up in a way, living life, almost like embracing the divine, that's the creator that is within you, and being willing to have that confidence to do so. Almost like living magically. A very unique and positive scenario. Reassurance. Again, creative projects. No, whether this is actually referring to children in and of itself, like a new pregnancy, that could totally be the case. If not, then it is again referencing some kind of new creative project, new beginning, new creative pursuit of some sort. I won't say that again for the sake of being repetitive. However, I do keep seeing these references to new creative projects, partnerships, Aries and our Taurus being aware, critical thinking skills, using your analytical skills. Unconditional love, support, loyalty, and commitment. helpful people, and partnerships. I'm going to leave it there, partly because I really cannot see too much else in here. This base is very, very full, and we are really not supposed to know too much else. Thank you so much again for watching. I truly hope that you found this reading to be helpful, and thank you again for all of your continued patience and support as I recover from this cold. I look forward to seeing you in the next one for the next 2 weeks. And again, that's going to be for the weeks of June, which is insane again to say. How is it June already? Weeks of June the 5th and June the 12th. So if you're curious to see, as I am, what this scenario is referring to, this beautiful abundant tree that's beautifully forming here, maybe head on over to the next video and see what that's like, see what that is involving, if that's what the universe would like us to know about. And I hope so, because I want to know now. And I will see you very soon. Thank you so much, and have an amazing weekend, an amazing week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.
As promised, here are pictures of this tea leaf reading. I truly hope that you found this tea leaf reading to be helpful and informative, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Thank you so much again for watching. I truly do appreciate it, and I do hope again that you found this reading to be helpful. If so, if you haven't yet already, please do consider giving this channel a subscribe. It truly helps with the algorithms and helps to get this message out there. Maybe even ring that bell for future updates and hit that like button. Stay tuned for the next video. See you soon.